Hey everybody, it's Rob here. If you are playing Spiritborn or even other classes, you have a great Rawhide shortage in the game. Now Blizzard was addressing some stuff here recently, but the Rawhide drop rate still seems extremely low. And I want to make this video here to quickly show you what I think are the most efficient ways, if you can say this. It's still not fast, but it is okay to farm some Rawhide. However, if you are playing Spiritborn and you're trying to masterwork your items in particular, you're gonna have no Rawhide, you know the feeling. And we have compiled a full list here of tests that we've done with all the activities in the game. There's also community lists here that have been compiled here on Reddit. And we also have a pretty cool strategy, even if you don't have any boss materials, revolving around the Temple of Rot here, where you can get a good amount of Rawhide per hour. So we want to get into all of this in this video here. So first of all, let me start with some basics. So salvaging items gives you Rawhide, and only salvaging armor pieces gives Rawhide. So you can see here, I'm going to move my camera for a second. Salvaging an item, a legendary, gives you 1 Rawhide. Thanks, Obama. Salvaging an ancestral legendary gives you 10 Rawhide. So you always want ancestrals. Like if you are doing Duriel or any activity, never leave an ancestral on the ground. It gives you more Rawhide. Then uniques give you 3 Rawhide. An ancestral unique, never leave them on the ground, they give you 30 Rawhide. Salvaging a mythic unique, this is the best in the game, like salvaging like there's any mythic unique armor piece, gives you 100 Rawhide. So these are the basics to understand. And what Blizzard did is they did buff the Rawhide amount from the auto salvage of blue and yellows. They did not buff what you get for legendaries, and they did not buff what you get from uniques. This is still the numbers. And they are still at the moment monitoring the situation, but this is why it might not feel impactful for you, because most of the items that you find and the activities that you do, they don't really reward any blue or rare items. You're mainly looking for legendaries and uniques, and the Rawhide drop rate of those is not buffed at all at the moment. And they're still monitoring the situation. Maybe they will change this. So this is what we have to deal with right now. And I compiled this list here, going through every activity in the game. I did all this testing myself, showing you like roughly where to get how much Rawhide and how much Rawhide you can get every hour. And by far the best activity, but this only applies if you have the materials and you're doing like a group rotation to multiply your materials. This is not counting in or accounting for the time it takes to farm the materials. But if you have materials, the best thing to do is tormented bosses. They drop between 10 and 100 Rawhide every time, plus they drop additional items and have a chance to drop mythics, which give you 100 Rawhide, and have a good chance to drop you an ancestral item, which gives 30 Rawhide. And these bosses give you a very good amount. You can get almost 10,000 Rawhide per hour if you have infinite mudds, in theory, right? So it also takes time to farm those mudds. Depending on how long it takes you, you have to deduct that from the efficiency. But again, if you're doing a 4-player group rotation, even if you only have like 5 summons, you already have 20 summons with other 3 people. And this is by far the best to do. And the reason why Beast in the Ice is best is that every boss has different set of items that they drop. I'm going to put the link here to the full table for Vessel of Hatred. Below you can see the entire drop table. And you can see here, when you are doing Beast in the Ice, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 armor pieces and only one ring or weapon piece. And keep in mind, the ring or weapon gives you iron chunks. Only the armor gives you Rawhide. So you need to do a boss that doesn't drop many weapons and it doesn't drop many rings. Here are all the items that Beast in Ice can drop. So you see here, when I salvage the Wound Drinker, I get no Rawhide. I get iron chunks, which you don't really need that many of, because you're not masterworking your weapon that much, because you only have Kepelecke, and obviously that also takes some time to masterwork, but you need to masterwork like all your armor pieces. And you see what happens here when I just salvage the other items. That was close. If I salvage the other items here, these are the other 5 items that Beast in the Ice drops. So if I just salvage, like this is 1 kill, if I just salvage, I mean I got lucky, but if I salvage just these, you see I already get 90 Rawhide. And if I go in here in Beast in the Ice, sometimes there's a bug, guys, like Beast in the Ice can bug out, but it is still seems to be, yeah, I almost salvaged my triple masterworked pants. But yeah, if you see here, like if I'm opening this, I don't really think it matters. So he spawns, like you kill him immediately, and he has 6 items in his drop pool, and most, okay, now I got unlucky, I got a lot of rings, but you see it's always the same ring here. Okay, that was actually extremely unlucky. So good showcase. This is like the worst you can get. I just got the same ring like 5 times. But that's normally not what happens. So normally you get like the other 5 items that are in the loot table. You see here now, double boots. Okay, this is how it normally looks. Here, like, this is the average. You get 5 armor pieces and you get 1 ring. And if I take this to salvage, again, you're already gonna get a lot of stuff. And this is why Beast in the Ice at the moment is the best to get Rawhide in particular. You can also do Lord Zir. Lord Zir has 2, it has a weapon and a ring, 4 armor pieces. So you're also losing like 10% efficiency on Lord Zir, but Lord Zir also cannot bug, and some people still need iron chunks, right? So you see, I'm going to take this to a salvage, and boom, it gives me another 81 Rawhide. So I see way more Rawhide than iron chunks, even though I got this like crazy amount of rings. And that is why Beast in the Ice is the best. Lord Zir is second best, and I think Duriel is third best. Like Duriel has Kepelecke, Banished, Sepan Sontek, and the X-Faults in his loot table. So there's more items on Duriel. But that's why I think Beast in the Ice, it still takes you like 30 seconds. Beast in the Ice is still pretty good. And then, and this is pretty cool, if you are a solo player, or also if you're in a group, and you have not completed the Temple of the Rot yet, this is the second fastest thing. It's very close to the bosses, and it does not require any materials. So the Temple of Rot is a stronghold that is located here. If you have already done this strategy doesn't work, you can make a new character. But if you have a friend that hasn't done it, it works in a group as well. I'll show you the group stuff, because I unfortunately have completed it. You see, I can't access it. But what you can do here is there is a chest in Temple of Rot that gives you about 50 Rawhide every time, and you don't need any mats to summon it. I have a video here. Like you basically see, a run takes about 30 seconds. Like I just have a friend here, big shout out to Zero to Hero, who has not completed it, so I'm just joining his game, right? He's opening the chest, and you see the loot just flies to me. And you see, boom, that's 50 Rawhide right there. And then we basically, like, he leaves, and then I join him again, because like when he leaves the game, oh, there's 2 robs now. Let me move over here. So when he leaves the game, 2 robs is good, yeah. You see, when he leaves the game, it resets the stronghold. Like if you're a solo player, you just need to go to the character select and log back in. You see, he can open the chest again, and the items, like, see, boom, that is another 50 Rawhide right there. And we basically just keep doing this. This reminds me a lot of the Diablo 2 Kurust runs, where you would just go on a sorcerer and you would open the chest in, I think, lower Kurust, like over and over again to farm runes. People did this for 20 years in Diablo 2. Like basically all you do, you log in, you open, you go to a chest, you open it, you log out. You log in, you go to the chest, you open it, you log out. People have been farming this in Diablo 2 for 20 years. And you see like here how much materials is dropped, and it also drops you legendaries actually. So this is also a strategy you can do. Again, this is best if you don't have any boss mods, or if you don't want to bother, you know, like it being complicated. You don't want to, like, you know, have a group rotation and this kind of stuff. So this is like very easy to do, and it yields you about 6,000 Rawhide per hour. And you also actually get quite a lot of items. And this chest here, you can see it also drops iron chunks, and it also drops you Veld crystals, And it also drops you 10 Forgotten Souls. You see here, now I got 90. Again, it's the same 10 to 100. So actually, I think you get 55 on average per run. And yeah, I'm still really hoping, of course, that the Rawhide is gonna get buffed at some point, because it is the big bottleneck of people that are trying to, like, you need Rawhide for everything, right? You need Rawhide to masterwork an item, you need Rawhide to enchant an item, you need Rawhide to reroll an item, you need Rawhide to upgrade or like cancel the upgrade, you need Rawhide to imprint an aspect. I mean, you need Rawhide for everything. You probably need to log in and you need to pay Rawhide. So it would be nice at some point, I guess, to have an additional source or a better source of Rawhide. Maybe increase the drop rate or reduce the amount that it costs in terms of Rawhide for masterworking in particular, I think. And I think they did a fantastic job with buffing the Forgotten Soul material. And this could be a similar treatment. So again, the Temple of Rot is located here. It does not work if you completed the Stronghold. You need to have a friend that doesn't have completed it, or you need to make a new character and that does not have completed it. Temple of Rot, a pretty good Rawhide per hour. You see here, like every 30 seconds, this is the chest here. I was just waiting for my friends. But every 30 seconds you can open this chest and the loot is actually pretty fantastic. It's like a boss kill. It doesn't cost you any materials. It's pretty cool. And then I tested the various other endgame activities. And I think the next thing in line, so Tormented Bosses if you have Mats, number 1. Temple of Rot, number 2. Number 3 is Whispers or Helltide. This is pretty close. So you can combine the two, right? Like usually you have the Helltide, you have the Maiden, and you have the bounties. So you get a Whisper and you get the Maiden. I think this is the most efficient. So combine, this is rank 3, combine Whispers and Helltide. And if you do contribute a heart to the Maiden, you actually get more Rawhide and more Forgotten Souls from that Maiden as well. So you definitely don't want to be just leeching. You want to be actively, you know, contributing to the event spawn. And then if you open those Whisper caches, you can see here, I farmed a few. So let's say here my Rawhide is 24k.4. I open one of these bags. I'm trying to like just let it all fall on the ground. You see like all this loot exploding here. Like I'm just pissing loot at the moment. See, it keeps on going. Just pisses a bit of loot. Piss it all on the floor. And once you're done, now, so again, we have 24.4. And now I'm just gonna go in. Boom, that's 300 Rawhide, right? And then you can also salvage like all of this stuff pretty much. So yeah, farming Whispers, like even just if you have just like, I don't know, like a few caches like I do here, for example, like 24.7, like we can just open all this. And you can see like us pissing the loot all the time here, like look at this. Like, it basically just vomits all the loot. You see, floop, it just flies. So it'll keep flying for a little while. And once you're done pissing all this loot, you see I have this Rawhide here, and now I take this, boom, I got 1,000 Rawhide. So there's definitely quite some stuff that you can do, and then you would get even more Rawhide. Now it's pissing the loot. You would even get more Rawhide, right, from just salvaging all this pretty much. So that's like how you can farm some Rawhide as well. And again, you want to combine this with doing the... so much loot. Anyways, you want to combine this doing the Maiden and the Helltide together. So these two activities can be combined very good. And then I tested the Realmwalker. This one was pretty bad. It still takes pretty long, and you can choose this material cash reward here. However, it doesn't really do much, and I think it's not worth it doing the Realmwalker. It's still too slow. I think they did a good job buffing the speed, but they could still buff it more. Infernal Hordes is pretty okay. You get a lot of stuff there. You also get decent XP. And at the final chest, if you choose the 200 ether chest, not the 20, it's 200 ether chest, you also get a decent amount of Rawhide plus the salvage. Then I tried Undercity. The Masterwork chest gave the most, so you get Obduxite, 2000 Obduxite in T4, and you also get about 55, 60, 70 Masterwork, amount of Rawhide from the Masterwork tributes. And Nightmare Dungeons is also okay, wasn't too much. Pits is also kind of okay, but it's mainly coming from the salvage. Legion events. So Legion event used to be what people used to get materials. And now watch this. This is me doing a Legion event on the hardest difficulty to see how much Rawhide it gives. And this is the result. Raw. See? 1 Rawhide, 3 Rawhide. We got a total of 3 Rawhides for an
It's bugged.
entire Legion event. I think it's bugged because it used to give... You see this?
It went from giving 8 from...
There, we got 3 Rawhide there.
It went from giving 800 Rawhide to 3. Bruh.
What the fuck is this, man? 3 Rawhide for a Torment 4 hardest Legion event you can do. You get 3 Rawhide. GG. Was it 4? Okay, it was 4. What the fuck, dude? Okay, so anyways, so you're not getting any Rawhide from the Legion events no more. Like, it used to be, like last patch, if you guys remember, it used to be a pretty good way to farm Rawhide, but not anymore. So don't do Legion events. For some reason, they divided the amount of Rawhides that the Legion event gives by 100. So don't do that, and Sellers is kind of okay. So this is basically the entire situation right now. The Temple of Rot, I think, is a pretty cool way. Whispers, Helltide double dip is pretty good. And if you have boss mods, if you have a rotation, again, this is by far the best. Beast in the Ice and Zio or Duriel, these are the best bosses for it in this order. And again, this is the amount that you get. And I would suggest, and this would be a suggestion to Blizzard, right? Like, that they just triple. Like, what they did to yellows and blues was not really effective, like I mentioned before, to people. And I think it would be way better if you buff, or if the amount of legendaries and uniques Rawhide that you get from salvaging those would be increased significantly. I think like a times 3, like, you know, if a normal legendary would give 3 Rawhide, an ancestral give 30, a unique 9, an ancestral unique 90, and a mythic unique 300. I think that would be way better, and this would be throughout all the activities in the game. Because again, most activities that people do not yield auto-salvage blue or auto-salvage yellows. Like, that just doesn't exist in like the highest end game usually. Like, people are doing bosses, they only drop uniques. People are doing pits where there's no blues and yellows, at least not that much. And people are doing like T4, okay, Nightmare Dungeons, maybe there's some blues and yellows that get auto-salvaged. But overall, I don't think it was very effective. And yeah, legendaries and unique buff, and maybe even mythic unique buffs, sounds like a way better buff than buffing blues and yellows, in my opinion. Anyways, guys, I hope this helped you out. I really hope that we're gonna get out of this Rawhide bottleneck at some point. But meanwhile, you can still farm like at least a decent amount. And yeah, my friends, have good fortune and good luck on getting those triple crits. I'm still missing one myself here. It is very hard to get. And yeah, again, good luck, my friends. Hope this helped you. Leave a comment if you know about any other Rawhide methods. Last thing I want to mention, there is a Reddit post here from the community where I'm going to link this below as well, where somebody here, Silver Knight, broke down materials acquired per activity. You can also watch this. And he was saying, because there is an Opal that is supposed to give you additional crafting mods. And from my testing, this one doesn't work at all for Rawhide. And there's even some people here that are saying when they are using it, they're getting less materials. Like actually like less materials, like lower materials with the Opal. Again, I could not replicate this. For me, the Opal just didn't do anything. Like, I didn't get any more, I didn't get any less materials. But yeah, I mean, if it doesn't do anything, then why would you use the Opal? So I would suggest you do not use this Opal, because it does not do any good if you want to farm Rawhide. That's pretty much it, my friends. Again, the Reddit post will be below. Good luck. See you soon. GG.